Hello, everybody, and welcome. Well, welcome to Manrico and Lucy. Thank you for being here. And for everyone listening, today we're going to talk about the time coach certification and their experience in it. And we literally had our last call yesterday. So this is like fresh off the boat, still smelling that seawater in our hair. So I appreciate you both. But I think this is kind of the fun thing is like, you're still in it. It's still not finished really. And so I appreciate you both. I would love for you guys to just introduce yourself briefly, who you are, where you're from, maybe even, whatever comes to mind. And we'll go from there. Does that sound good? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, go
great.
on, Lucy.
All right, I'll start. I'm Lucy. I am from Australia, as you may be able to hear from my accent. I am a former book editor who became a software engineer and is now becoming a coach. So I'm a kind of professional career changer.
Yes, amazing. And I think it's true. I read somewhere, I think it can feel so scary to change our careers, but I think also we do evolve as humans and it makes sense that our careers change, actually. So I love that you've already had a big change and now another one. Amazing. Manrico?
Well, I love that your allegory about the sea because I'm from Malta, a small island, and sea is part of who we are. Um, yeah, I'm a person who loves learning and exploring, um, and also love sharing that. I do that through writing and also through my job as a teacher, as a father, mostly through one-to-one conversations. And yeah, I've learned two things I'd say about this. And one is that it's worse than useless to try to force feed learning or to teach someone who is not ready at the moment. And two is that it's about the experience, the human connection, and that's how people learn best. And yeah, it's a big part of who I am and a big part of what brought me to time coaching, if I may say so now.
Yes. Well, thank you both for introducing. And I would love to hear more about, what brought you to time coaching.
Yeah, as I said, that's one big factor. The second one is my experience as a student of time hackers had such a big impact on me, on how I go through life and wanting to share that gift with others is, yeah, is the other main reason why I'm talking to you today as a time coach. Yeah, I can say that, I guess.
Which is, I think, so powerful because, you know, one of the things that I speak about is you don't have to be perfect with time to become an excellent time coach. And actually, that wasn't my story either. And I think for you to share that you were a student of the tools first, created your results, and that's what drove you. I just think it's such a powerful experience. So thank you.
You're right.
Um, yeah. Lucy, what drew you to it?
I was actually just reflecting on this earlier because I knew that we were going to be having this conversation, and I was thinking, how did that happen? And for me, I heard you on Maisie absolutely just felt like a lightning bolt for me in listening to that conversation, was that you talked about the the fem because ever since becoming a parent, I have three kids, and ever since I became a parent, I was in a tussle with workplaces over how much time I spent in the office as opposed to at home. And for a lot of that time, I was working full time, but I wanted to be able to be at home so that I could be there when the kids got home, or just it just made things really a lot easier if I could work from home. But that just wasn't considered possible by a lot of workplaces until the pandemic, and that turned everything around massively. And now I work remotely. And so when I heard you talking about that, I think I just thought, well, I just have to, know more about this. I need this. I need to know, everything about this. So I started listening to your podcast, and then I decided to join the Blueprint. And then I think I got a bit confused by the marketing, and thought that Time Hackers, the sort of full version, was more for people working 80-hour weeks, which was just never really me. But then you and I had a conversation, and I kind of very quickly went from, yes, I want in on time hackers, and yes, I want to be a time coach, because I'd already sort of made the decision to become a coach. So I sort of sped through this process of like finding you, finding your work, and doing the Blueprint, and kind of I felt like I grew 2 or 3 sizes as a person, just going through the tools and doing all that work. So yeah, it's been a huge sort of accelerator to my progress as a
Wow.
person in my life.
Wow, I love that, firstly, to hear. And I remember that phone conversation we had. And even hearing from you afterwards, how much it had helped you. And that was so cool. But I also think that what I love about both of your stories is what Lucy's just done is really give people permission to also move quickly. Because I think sometimes, you know, we think we have to sit on decisions, but you allowing yourself to like move forward with intuition. Um, is also really powerful. Like we can wait and we don't have to wait. We can go at our own pace, and that own pace is not set by any external thing, which I think for both of you, just modeling that as like that is the essence of what we study and what we teach. That's fun. Um, what surprised you about the certification, would you say, about the experience? Is there anything that surprised you in terms of potentially how it was delivered or what changed throughout it?
I'm just going to jump in. Like we were pausing there. I think I had this sort of thought that it would be very structured, and there would be all this learning that would be sort of delivered to us and everything. And I think it's coming from, traditional education settings where that is just sort of, I guess, a convention. But I think the fact that we create it between us, was set up from the very first call, and that radical responsibility that we all had to take for creating the safety, creating the experience that we were all going to have, and creating the trust between us, and the connection between us was really huge, and has kind of rewired my brain, I would say, in this process.
Ooh, tell us more about that.
Well, I think differently. One of the things that I've always really valued about, well, one of the things I've been drawn to in my career is trying to work at places where I think there's excellence, because I want to immerse myself in that, because I believe in that sort of idea that the people you surround yourself with are the people you sort of become. And so the idea of immersing yourself in an excellent environment has always been a kind of pull. And when I heard that you were training excellent coaches, I thought, well, I want that. But of course, that was a perfectionist fantasy that I had of what that was going to be. And actually, rewiring my brain to think of radical acceptance and, all the things that we think of as excellent in time hackers, in the coaching program, has really had a huge impact on how I think.
Oh, so like what you thought creating excellence would look like was traditional schooling, structure, almost rigidity, check boxes, and so
Yeah.
on.
I was going to be ticking everything.
Yeah, and doing it first. So
Yeah.
now on the other side of it, would you say you have achieved that goal of becoming an excellent coach?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I actually believe that about myself, and I believed it really quite early on, and it felt wild. I was kind of like, is someone going to come and tell me I'm not? But yeah.
amazing. So the untraditional way, the way that we do it actually got you there faster and you're smiling while you say it. So it sounds like in an enjoyable way rather than like,
Yeah. Well, I think one of my intentions was to have fun in this program,
oh,
and I've had
yeah.
so much fun. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so fun. I've had a lot of fun too. Manrico, have you had fun?
Yeah, definitely. definitely was part of the process. Yeah.
Yes. And I'd love to hear from you, Manrico. What surprised you?
Yeah. The first one that comes to mind is half a surprise. It was I I had done a different coaching course before. It was at university.
Hmm.
Um, and we had very little practical coaching experience there. And it was one of my questions that I asked before I enrolled in this, like, do we have coaching experience? So it wasn't a full surprise, but the amount of coaching experience we had was still a positive surprise. And it's a big part of what makes the program so great for me, the possibility to experience coaching and to coach. It was amazing. Um, Another positive surprise was how can the yes the environment that was created, which led to such safety and generosity amongst us, like from the very beginning. I would say it was also really positive.
Mm. Yeah.
And yeah, when Lucy was talking, I had something else in mind, and I was like, okay, I'll focus on Lucy and I remember it, but right now I can't. But maybe it will come back later.
It will come back later. You can DM me afterwards and I can put it somewhere, or we can just share it in the group with us to enjoy. But yeah, that does
Yes.
happen. And just I love that because that is one of the skills that you've developed as a coach, is being able to really focus on someone when our brain is always giving us information. Our brains are obsessed with us. And I do think it is a super coaching skill to be able to turn the volume down and not buy into the narrative that your brain is giving you, that everything it says is urgent and important, and you have to disassociate from the environment you are in or the people you are with and be in your brain with these thoughts. So, Manrico, thank you for sharing that. And he's got
And
it.
this here, and ironically, it was the very thing, because it is how the results don't come through doing things perfectly and having everything, like remembering everything. No, it's being present and the simplicity. I will explain that later, of just being present and trusting that what is important will emerge. Like it emerged right now, you know? And to explain that simplicity, I the metaphor of a duck comes to mind. Like if you see a duck swimming, very elegant, very smooth, very, you know, relaxed. But beneath the surface, like our legs are loose.
Yeah.
And it's the other way around as well. If if you just be there, be present, the important work will get done.
Oh, so
And
good. I love.
that is something which amazed me as a coach and as a client. And like, wow, having that space, that safety
Mhm.
works wonders.
Mhm. Such a beautiful metaphor. Thank you for sharing, because I do think for me it always helps me learn. So I think that's such a gift. Um, and I think kind of where your 2 points merge, it's like that was the experience, right? Where you get to like be present and the important work happens. And that ties in with what Lucy was saying, actually, which is like we so focus on the important work that we don't get the presence.
Yeah.
And what does that take? So just really beautiful to see those two come together. And the other thing, just to share with our listeners, because I made a change for this certification this round, and you got the private podcast with the learning, and we made every single call coaching. Plus, obviously, you have the peer coaching. So this was like very intentional, um, a very intentional experiment, let's say, to because I do think like what Manrico said is, we can get the theory, but until we're putting it into practice. And what I found speaking to people that have been in different coach certifications also is the fear, right? So like if the first time you're going to coach someone, it's going to be someone out there in the world, instead of the safety that's created by understanding that you're in a learning environment. And I think it was literally like, could I give these people 100 learning opportunities? And what happens? Like, if it doesn't take time, if it takes doing and learning and failing, how can I create as many learning opportunities where they're coaching, where they're receiving coaching, where they're observing coaching? How do we get the lessons out of that? Which is why we've got the structured like evaluation process. And then getting you all to share it in the community, even when other people, and like, just how can we squeeze so much delicious learning in a really safe way, so that the actual skill, to Lucy's point, I actually want the skill of coaching. I want people to come out of this highly skilled, like not having done a certification, but to Lucy's point, having had their brain change. So I think it's, how was it? How would you say you evolved from maybe like, and Lucy, you did the very first coaching, group coaching in front of everyone on the call. So I'd love to hear about that experience for you and what it was like, and what's evolved for you since then. And same for you, Manrico, from like the early coaching to now, what would you say has evolved? What have you been able to learn? Where have you been able to fail? Where, kind of like some of the learning that isn't all like, and then it was amazing, but like maybe it wasn't always amazing, and that's okay too.
Oh,
I'd
wow.
like to jump in now because
Yeah, go
it,
ahead.
it ties in very well with what we're just saying. Um, like the first coaching experience I had, the peer coaching, not being observed in the group, the night before and the night after, I woke up like with a mini panic attack
Mm.
because it felt such a huge responsibility to me at the time that, you know, I felt responsible for like my brain, felt responsible for the life of this other person. Now I can see the difference, but then having had the possibility to go through that experience in a safe space during the certification itself, to now feeling like so much different, so confident because I've had the safe space to grow into it and to explore. It's such a game changer. Honestly, it makes a huge difference.
Mhm.
Like now there's always that feeling of um, I want create safety and I want this to be a great experience to the person talking to me. But I experience that and show up to that in a way that is confident, that believes in the process, that believes in the other person, that believes in me. And wow, like there's no other way to describe that difference.
Yeah.
And going into it with that feeling of trust that if we're present, it will turn out magnificently. Like
Mhm.
that is the single biggest change for me.
Wow. And as you were speaking, I think a lot of traditional curriculum-based certifications or qualifications try and like don't think about A, safety, or B, belief in self, and they over like extend on belief in the process, so that it's like we're not, like, you're not being taken care of. So it's like if you forget the process, if you forget one step in the thing, it's like the opposite of presence. It's like perfection. It's like there's a 5-step process and I need to do it all. I need to perform instead of I need to be, and what that creates. And I just, as you were speaking, I was like, that is such a key point that I think I've seen in all of you, is that like, and I hope you've experienced it, is the power of belief in self. Like that part isn't optional. Traditional learning doesn't teach us that.
Mm.
But when you are coaching someone, it is like I always think you can only meet people where you are. And so, and I would say across the board, that is what I saw changed, and it was like the confidence. But I'm interested to hear from Lucy how it was for you, because for me, that was like, yes, the confidence has changed and the coaching elevates, and that's just powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to just say, Manrico, that was so amazing to hear that. And I hadn't sort of realized that you'd had such a strong experience, in as a reaction to the coaching. And I had this this just this very impulsive, excited, like feeling about the first coaching call, and I was just so excited to put my hand up and coach, and I just had no idea how absolutely, I'm not sure if I can swear here, Vicky,
You
but
can say
I was fucking terrified.
it.
It was like a deer in headlights. I couldn't even think. I was so scared because I mean, of course there's all the equalizing and we're really, always trying to be sort of talking about this, but coaching in front of you, Vicky, was so scary because, I've put you on a pedestal and you've been resolutely trying to knock that down, which I really appreciate. And I think that's another part of what is really beautiful about time hackers more broadly and this certification in particular. But it was really frightening. It was wonderful because I think I went through this coaching where I did the best I could. I tried to stay as present as I could, but I ended up going around in circles a little bit and just feeling really quite embarrassed. And the coaching bit came to an end, and then everyone said incredibly lovely things to me about what they'd seen, about what I'd been doing, and the validation and the sort of I don't know, almost like the thrill of having people see that in you and see you that way, and for you to say such nice things about me as well at the end. I actually, because the calls here that I could attend were at like 8 or 9 p.m., I actually couldn't sleep afterwards because I was so wound up with excitement. And actually, the funny thing is, we had that, like, because I couldn't attend the final call that you folks just had. For me, that would have been 4 a.m. So I wasn't in attendance, but we had a sort of mini goodbye for two of us the week before. And after that, I also couldn't sleep because I had the same sort of, my nervous system was so activated. But I think it was in delight, not in it. It's sort of like that way that fear and excitement and whatever can be so close.
Mhm.
And I think it was a bit the same with the first call, honestly, because I was so probably high on adrenaline from the thrill of it all. Because I've been looking forward to being in the certification for so many months at that point.
Yes, and I think that's it. It's like the opportunity, what I'm hearing from both of you is to have it be scary, which it's going to be, whether it's, and this is why I value doing it in this environment, because it's going to be, even if we have all the tools, like your body, your nervous system, it thinks it's keeping you alive, so it doesn't care how much you want to like regulate it. It's like, I'm going to be scared the first time, and that obviously gets better, but so having that ability, where is my brain going? Mine, like I was just excited to listen to you both. But I think it's having that ability to experience the fear, do the thing. And then, Lucy, what's so important and why I have you guys evaluate each other is because our brain, immediately after we do something, is going to be like, here's all the things we did wrong. Never do it again. But it's not true. Like I didn't say anything to you or any of you, and I gave feedback that wasn't true, right? It's like you give the cohort the opportunity to reflect to you the things that they admire, the things that they see that your brain will not give you permission to see, because it's like, scary, you just exposed yourself. Like go back into the cave and hide. And so it's so valuable to be almost forced to look at what you did well. Even the way you described it initially, you're like, and then I was going around in circles. Like, just imagine if we would have just have left you to evaluate yourself, like, go on off your own. And that's why, I speak about the value in evaluating. But this course, it's not just lots of practice coaching, it's lots of evaluation and it's lots of like peer evaluation. And that is super intentional because you get to learn from each other, but also you are forced to get the data that is balanced and true and fair about yourself, which your brain won't always give you access to. So thank you for sharing that experience. And then how is it, so compared to that fear and terror in the moment, how is it now for you when you're coaching?
I think the big difference for me is that typically I can tune out the noise in my head, which I think I've always, well, not maybe not always, but I've really been observing for quite a long time now that I'm someone who has historically been highly tuned into the noise in my head, and starting to tune that out a bit more, tune more into other people is a thing that when my nervous system is highly activated, goes offline. It's just not available to me. But because of the creation of safety that's going on in this group and the way that we're creating that for each other and learning to do that. And I was watching you, Vicky, with your hand on your heart before, and I was sort of unconsciously mirroring that because I was just feeling like, oh, I feel like I need a little,
Yeah.
a little safety right now. And I think having more and more access to ways to create that safety and to find that again means that I never get so very far from it now. It's so much easier. And again, I think it's a neural pathway thing that if I feel myself, if I notice that activation stirring up, I'm going to start taking some deeper breaths and I'm going to just slow down and I'm going to put my hand on my chest and go, ooh, I can feel that. Yeah. And just be really compassionate about it as well. And just keep tuning back into what the other person's saying and trying to be in their brain and just saying to my brain, I hear you, you're there. But
Yeah.
we don't actually need what you have to say right now. It's about this other person.
Which is like, but that sentence is huge, and it's, what Manrico modeled earlier, and I really want to keep re-emphasizing it. Like that skill to me is required for coaching excellence, right? Like our brains, then they're obsessed with us, and they think their job is to make us always listen, listen, listen. But for me, and we speak about this in the program, coaching is two people in one person's brain. It doesn't mean, by the way, that your brain shuts off. So how do we meet our brain? Because how I was taught, not from coaching, but from life, was to like argue with my brain or, shut up, stop it, you're annoying, it's not your time to speak. No, this shouldn't be happening. Like everything that was making it worse. And what Lucy just shared was that compassion for like, listen, thank you. I'm going to go back to this person, like that compassion, that meeting with compassion. And I think, like, honestly, that is the answer to so many things in the world. Like, how different are things when we meet them with compassion? Things that are inconvenient or like not productive, or, I said I was going to do this thing and now I'm not doing it. Let me berate myself for it. Like, okay, well, you could do, but probably not going to have you do the thing. So I love that. Thank you. I was going to say, what is like, how has your path changed by being in this certification? So I want you to think about, you just spoke about neural pathways, but also I want to think about like we're driving in a car in life and we're going in a certain way in the GPS, like, and then you put in a different GPS and you put in like, we're going to go through this time coach certification, like this different tunnel and come out another side. What is out of that other side that, like, how has your path changed as a result of doing this certification? Manrico, do you want to?
I think, yeah, I think Lucy mentioned it a bit. Um, it's the first one that comes to mind is not even directly related to the coaching, but it's life. I I became a better listener, for example, like with my family as well, with friends, and being able to meet them where they are and knowing that it's okay and that I don't have to steer them somewhere, but I can believe in them. So I think the biggest difference is in my life, honestly, like with my relationships, which I had before. And that's one part. And the other is as a result of something that I wanted, I've had the experience of coaching informally, both with friends and with students or parents as a teacher. And I had felt this and wanted to explore what it means like to coach formally, and it's something that I would like to get more into. And and it definitely like I know now we really click. As I said, I had done a more structured and formal official, it's a university thing, certification, and I never really practiced formally following that. I had some friends and it was mostly informal, but I don't know, something wasn't there. But going through this experience, and as I said before, having had the possibility to coach so much, both being observed by you and other coaches and both just peers and having that feedback, but also not just having the feedback, but being able to give feedback and see how others go through the same process that I do. Because if I coach, as you said well enough, like when I coached at the beginning and people would say, wow, this was amazing. I was like, hmm, you know, I did this wrong. I wanted to do this better and all this. But then when I see others, like Lucy shared right now, feel that they weren't so great or they could have done better, and I, as a client, know that I'm being honest when I say that was amazingly helpful. I say, oh, so this is really a thing. This is a brain trick. And yeah, yeah, being able to do this with friends, I can now honestly call them friends. Yeah, those two things really are as a result of the change in trajectory by doing the certification.
Wow, that's so powerful. Thank you. And what about, so I know you picked up a few clients during certification, but going forward, would you like to have a coaching business, or do you want to keep applying it to teaching and parents and students? What do you think?
Yes, definitely. I can now honestly say that I definitely want to do this. Yeah, my brain, even during the certification, was like, I know I can do this. I know I can help people, but
Yeah.
it's for me, it's very uncomfortable to put myself out there and say, you know,
Yes.
I I sell this service because that's, I mean,
Yeah.
and that was unnatural to me. I have to say, because like for me, I this programming that helping people, loving people is done for free.
Yes.
Like I
Yes.
help
Yes.
and love my friends.
Yes.
And this is essentially loving and helping people.
Yes.
Like people are inviting you into their brain. Like it's bigger than their home. It's more important that they are inviting you into their most important place,
Mm-hmm.
and accepting to go there, to appreciate them, to admire them, to love them, basically, not to judge.
Yes.
It's For me, it's the ultimate act of love and service. And for some time, like my brain was saying, okay, but this and a paid service do not go together.
Mm-hmm.
But I now see it that I can offer a big service. And again, I have been repeating this so much thanks to peer coaches and telling me like this was a big act to me and I would definitely would love to have you as a coach. And receiving that, I realized that yes, this is a service that is valuable. And
Yes,
in the world we live in,
yes.
money is part of what
An exchange of value.
has value, yeah.
Yeah.
And because it's how we live in. And
Hmm.
so, yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
For people, that's how they are showing, it's part of how they show their appreciation as well. So there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with it. And now I can, yeah,
That's
answer
huge.
honestly. I interpret this whole process to answer your question, but yes, now I
Yeah.
definitely am in the place of saying I want to coach formally. Yes.
Yes. Yes. I think it's huge. And I think it's also fun to reflect. I mean, you guys all paid to be in this program. So there was an exchange of money here as well. So being on that side. But we will speak about the business workshops after this a tiny bit, and then we'll close up. But I just want to thank you for sharing, Manrico, because I think that's a big point that's super relatable to people, and for you to share your evolution of like, this is, I mean, when you said the most sacred place to go into someone's brain, I mean, I think me and Lucy, like, our mouths dropped because that was so powerful and true. And I think a lot of what we've been taught is well, then taking money is bad. But we're not taking money, right? Like, and it's changing that narrative. So thank you for sharing that evolution. It's a big one for sure.
Yeah.
Lucy,
Yeah,
tell
that
us.
was oh, it was so amazing hearing what you had to say, Manrico. My dog just really wants to go outside, so I'm just gonna let her out the door. Sorry.
Yes, you go
Sorry for
outside,
doing
walk
this,
your dog
but she's
outside.
really bugging me, so now she's gone off barking. Okay. Welcome to Australia, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, so um first of all, Manrico, that was so amazing hearing what you had to say about your personal life, because I think that was something that was the first thing when you asked the question, Vicky. I was thinking, oh no, that can't be a that can't be a valid answer, because what jumped to my mind first was I had this moment where my husband was kind of a bit irritated with me about something, and I can't even remember what it was, but he was a bit annoyed and whatever. And I just met him right away with compassion. It was like, instead of reacting and being affronted back and, I'm annoyed and don't speak to me like that. How dare you be cross with me? I'm perfect. Ah. Um, Instead, I was like, I can so see how you can see it that way, and I'm really sorry. Like, that sucks as an experience to have. Like, it was just me kind of being able to be with his brain, and my brain not cut in and be like, well, I'm going to take a front. Yeah, so that was so lovely, and it's been, yeah, I just think a like brilliant, and I've just started to really try to understand externalities, Vicky,
Yeah.
because that was one that I was really tussling with, and that's probably the time hacker tool I should have focused on.
You can
For
still
my,
focus on, by the way.
I'm definitely going to be focusing on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess what I wanted to say about my sort of change in it, it's not even like it's not like the actual direction has changed, because I wanted to become a coach with my own business and all that sort of stuff at the start of the course. But I think my sense of how long that's going to take, or the value that I have to offer, and my power as a coach, or my sort of capacity as a coach, has increased so much that I feel like I'm kind of ready to just, hang out my sign and say, come and get coached, because I know I have value to offer. I know I'm great at this, and I know I'm still here to learn, which is, I think, part of what you were sort of, this spirit of part of being excellent is that I'm just going to go on learning. I'm going to go on learning from every single coaching session that I have, and, that I get to watch or that I get to witness. And I mean, that is another part of Time Hackers that I just value so highly, is getting to listen back to the calls in the program. And I've learnt so much from doing that. And I've learnt so much about how, and this goes to what you were saying, Manrico, about the love that you feel towards people who open up their brains to you is that there's this incredible sense of privilege and honor that, that you get from being in that position of having people tell you their innermost, desires and thoughts and feelings. It's such an honor and it's such an amazing experience. So yeah, it's been really great.
Amazing. Thank you both. I actually just looked at the time, and so I was going to ask you guys about the business mastermind, the business workshops, because that was new. But if you have something you want to say on it, you absolutely can, if there's something big. But otherwise, I think actually I'm going to move to start ending this because I'm just aware that our podcast listeners tend to be busy people. And what I was going to say is if there's anything that you've not had the opportunity to share that you wanted to share, or anything that you would say to someone who is like, oh, maybe I'm interested, maybe I'm not, like, is there anything that you would reflect back to maybe even that past version of you before we close up? So kind of dropping 3 questions there, but pick whichever one you want.
Well, I've got something that I would say because I don't know how many people are listening from Australia or some other place that feels a little remote to the UK, but I would say don't let being a long way away be a barrier because you can always figure out a way to make it work. And listening back can be really, really powerful. I'm really looking forward to listening to back to that last call. I can't wait. And yeah, it's been totally doable from afar.
Wow, that is so valuable. Thank you for sharing that. And it really is our goal and our intention is to make it, accessible. Because I do think time is the problem of our generation. And, on the flip side, I think you're only our second time coach in Australia. So you have this whole market, right? Which is so fun to think about. But you're like leading the time change, the time coaching in Australia, New Zealand. I mean, obviously, have clients anywhere, but just to reflect back, thank you for that. Manrico?
Yeah, first of all, you mentioned the business workshops. Thank you. It was really helpful and valuable to me. A big part of the experience that I just mentioned. With regards to people who are thinking about it, why are you thinking about it? Where are you thinking about it from? Is it a place of you being bigger, more powerful, more impressive if you do it? Or is it a place that makes you smile inside, makes you breathe out of love, out of service, something that is aligned with you? If it's the latter case, at the very least, explore it, explore the option. Because, yeah, you got to follow that sign.
Yes, and I love what you said earlier, Manrico, reminding me that like if you are listening and you have a question, ask it. We have answers. Manrico had questions and he asked them, and then he got to make a decision. So, I think one of the amazing things that I've seen in this cohort is that willingness to, well, we're always co-created, but to offer things. I'm thinking about Lucy this week, even saying, why not add 2 live coaching call replays to the certification, so people can listen to it, or having your own group coaching calls. Like, what I mean is sometimes you can ask something and it can add value for people beyond you. I mean, we see this all the time because I will create FAQs or so on, but if something feels inaccessible in any way as a company, just to share, we're very open and receptive to feedback, to iterations, to evolving. So I think that can be unusual in spaces, and it's not here. So actually that is something that I want to celebrate the group for, but also make sure people outside the group know, that I just thought of when you were speaking. So thank you for that. Amazing. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thank you everyone for listening. If you are thinking about, as Manrico said, if you have some feeling in your heart that like you could do this, if you are thinking about a career change, if you would like, I mean, for me, I got into coaching because I just remember I just really wanted to work with people and help people. And I was trying all these ways to do it in finance, which sounds hilarious now. Socially responsible investing, and then moving to the sales, like whatever it was. but I really just wanted to help people. I did not know that I would be a time coach and that would be my thing. I was the opposite of what you would expect. But if you want a meaningful career and an opportunity to learn in a really safe environment and evolve as a human because of it, even if you don't become a time coach, which I will say what's been fun this round that I'll speak on other podcasts about is people who are like, oh, I didn't know that I would do this as a career. I was doing it for myself, but actually maybe I can. Then check us out. The link will be in the show notes to apply. There's also going to be a link there potentially to the free Become a Time Hacker Coach private podcast that you can check out. But thank you both for your time, for your participation in the program, for co-leading this time revolution. And we will also have a link of a way to get in touch with Manrico or Lucy in case you heard them and wanted to connect with them further as well. Does that sound good? Amazing. All right. Thank you everyone for listening, and thank you guys for being here. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.